welcome. This is Deep Funding Town Hall number 35. It is Thursday, June 20th. And yes, welcome everybody. Please share with us where you're tuning in from. It's almost the end of the week. Maybe share with us your highlight of the week. What good things happened to you? Did you have any wins? Did you have any realizations, any breakthroughs? Did you learn something new? Yeah, it's the small things that make life worth living. Share some good news with us in a world where we're bombarded with so many negative messages. And hello, everyone. Hi, Tom. Hi, Ale. Hi, Clement. Hi, Ken. Hi, Kenrick. Raphael, Thomas. Good to have you here. For anyone who's new and you're wondering what the town hall or what deep funding is and what these town halls are, Deep Funding is SingularityNET's decentralized funding program. We fund AI builders and creators that help us grow and advance the SingularityNET marketplace, which is currently the biggest one in the world. And our town halls is the place where our community of AI builders come together and they discuss the direction of the program and they discuss topics around AI and decentralized governance and also any community concerns and wishes, which brings us to today. Today is an extremely important town hall. Deep Funding for the results to come in, as Tommy said. And proposers will get rewarded $1.5 million. It's been a couple of incredibly busy, fast, but exciting weeks. And now the dust is settling. So now we would love to hear from you on what you believe went well. What did you love? What were you surprised about? What did you dislike? Did you run into any glitches or problems? Was there any confusion? Would you like to see any changes? So this session is all about reflection and feedback. And why is this so important? Because only 98% of businesses or projects even make it past 5 years. Usually they fail within the first 5 years. Now, Deep Funding is not planning on failing in the first 5 years. We're not even 5 years old, but we're not planning on failing. And my business coach always told me, if you want to be in the 2% and you want to succeed, there's 2 things you need to focus on. Number 1 is innovation. Number 2 is marketing. So today is extremely important because innovation can only come from reflection. So that's what we're here for today. So now I'm going to hand it over to Tommy, who will be leading this session. And Tommy, if you need any help, I do have questions prepared, but I have full trust that you probably don't need any help because you're an absolute expert when it comes to getting opinions from people and getting people to participate in feedback sessions since you're part of the amazing focus group. So I will hand it over to you.
I am just so stoked after that introduction by Judith. That was phenomenal. But you give me a minute. I need to cross out the first 5 minutes of my notes of what I was going to say, because Judith just covered it.
Oh no.
I'm playing with you.
You have an intro prepared.
That's okay. I'm playing with you. We'll start off. Clement, you have your hand up, so I will take your question and then and we are also waiting for Jan, unless he's here. Okay. So Clement, why don't you give us your whatever your question is? You have your hand up, and then we're going to go into the regular meeting. Clement, is that a real hand or just an accidental hand?
So yeah, tell me, can I? Yeah, sorry, can I speak now?
Please.
Okay, thank you. So good evening, everybody. Glad you can hear me. Yeah, so I want to start first by really commending the Deep Funding team. Yeah, it was really an amazing experience for me. I don't know if it's because I'm quite experienced somehow, having had to propose in DFL3, so I got my way around the whole stuff. And then, yeah, there's been a lot of improvements in this round. And yeah, for me, I do appreciate that. And the team's preparedness to take on the vast amount of people who decided to propose this round. Just for a couple of stuff, I'll just talk around community communication. For me, I don't know for other people, I did discover that there was some struggle with people, especially newbies, in keeping up with the innovations that we experience in this particular round. Now, it may be surprising to say that a lot of people, well, maybe from my cycle of people that I know that are in deep funding, we're not aware around maybe improve adjustments like snapshots and stuff like that. So people kept on asking when the wallet snapshot was going to be taken, even after it was done already. So I don't know if that's because maybe they didn't understand, or maybe deep funding might have to find a way to improve communications to make people stay on the pace with whatever new innovation that's happening, especially new people. Now I also came across persons who still had struggles, having their wallets linked and stuff like that. People just copied their wallet addresses and pasted on their defunding profiles. And I'm like, nah, this is wrong, and lots of other stuffs around that. So, I've had some maybe like one-on-one sessions where I've had to coach people on, how to navigate the whole stuff. And, pretty much most of these came really late, maybe when we're really deep in the voting process. So I think maybe improvements could be made around, community communication, so people could get up on pace with whatever changes, whatever innovations that, we'll be having in future rounds. And that's just much I have to say. Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Clement. Thank you for those kind words. And certainly communication, as my wife of 40 years has told me, I can always improve my communication. And deep funding, which is run by only two people, Jan and Raphael, are the whole team for deep funding, are doing a fantastic job. And we have circles, as everybody knows, and the circles are growing. But communication, and Clement, thank you for that. We appreciate it. Now, I'd like to, without a segue, without anything else, I'd like to get into the reflection period, the surveys that the deep funding team have done. And Jan Horlings, who probably needs no introduction, but I'd like to introduce him anyway, because he is like a stable force throughout the whole deep funding thing. He never goes off the handle. He never gets really upset. He is just steadfast. And he's also the Chief Deep Funding Officer, if you did not know that. It is a fantastic honor of mine to introduce Jan, who is going to do, and remember, Judith, you need to keep him brief, a brief slideshow summary. And then we'll hear a little bit from Raphael if he has something to say. And then we're going to open it up for Clement and everybody else to make more suggestions for improvement. I do ask, and I'll repeat this later, when you have when you found a problem, when you've uncovered an issue, when you have an issue with something, there's no problem with you bringing it up. Try to have a solution. And that way we go positive with this. So with that, Jan, I'd like to turn the meeting over to you and your slideshow about the surveys that the deep funding team did of the newly added expert review team and the proposers.
Well, it's such a pity. I can listen to you and Judith all day. You've been such a great host tonight. So wonderful. Thank you for being here. Yeah, so let me share my screen. Oh, can somebody give me the rights to share my screen? I'm probably logged in with a different account, and maybe...
I think Judith has that capability.
Yeah. It's all coming along. So
yeah, it's done.
So wait a minute. This
Clement, you still have your hand up, by the way. Probably. not intended.
He just likes to have the attention. Ignore it. So this is just a short overview of 2 surveys that we did, or 2 feedback sessions that we already did. 1 survey, 1 feedback session. So earlier today we had a feedback session with the community expert groups about how that process went, and we'll probably have a follow-up in 2 weeks where we will not so much look back but look forward and brainstorm on what an improved process should look like. So I can share that quickly with you so that you have that at a foundation. The other thing is that we did a survey before the Spotlight Days. In the forum for the Spotlight Days, we also had a survey for the proposers. So that survey was directed at the proposers, and the main questions we wanted to have answered is, how did it work for you to work with a new platform, and especially the proposal flow and anything else? So very targeted at a specific area of the platform and the program that we're in. So maybe that's a good foundation to start with, and it will inspire you for some other feedback and observations. And of course, we can talk about a much wider array of things than the topics of these areas. So let me go through this quickly. So we had 3 questions to the expert reviewers in a kind of standard retrospective situation. And the 3 questions are: what would you like to continue to do? What things would you like to see stopped? And what things should we start doing? Or translated in a different way, what did you like? What did you not like? And what suggestions do you have? So starting with the first one, what should we continue doing? I think the expert reviewers liked the combination of individual assessments and then also that team assessment. Also builds the quality of the expert review. So I think overall everybody is very happy with that process as a concept. What they also liked, actually, is that it's a compressed process. Of course, we didn't have much choice, but within 2 weeks, we started the organization, we recruited people, we did the individual reviews, we did the group reviews, and then we had it all uploaded, all the outcomes on the platform. So, yeah, it was compressed. It was challenging at points, but yeah, I think all these people did a great job. And finally, what they liked is the impact of it. So the empowerment and the decentralization that goes out from it, because it's really the community, in this case, the community experts, that really help filter the best projects out there. Next question, what should we stop doing, or what did you not like? So there were some issues where expert reviews, for instance, on a scale from 1 to 5, gave it 3 or maybe sometimes even a 4. But then in their textual feedback, there were only negative points. And we thought, we're looking here for the top X recommended projects, and then recommending a project and only give negative feedback is maybe not exactly what we're looking for. So the proposers might be surprised in a way that is not so positive. So we changed that and we filtered that out a little bit. And I think that there are at least a number of people that are saying, well, maybe we should just not only limit us the exercise to, or the output of the exercise to the ones that are recommended, but just give everybody an expert review, and some will get a 1 and some will get a 5, and let the community sort that out for themselves. And I think that's good feedback. And because now we did 750 individual assessments, but most of them were only reviewed in the confines of a small team. And yeah, there is value in each and every single one of those assessments. So yeah, I agree we can do more with that. There was something about the guiding of the review criteria, that the review criteria guide the process, maybe sometimes a little bit too much. I mean, they are there to guide the process, but that we got. What we really try to give a lot of attention to, but can always be improved, is bias. So if there is a person in it. So what we try to do is to make sure that every expert reviewer that also made a proposal would not review any proposals in the pool that they were proposing in themselves. However, maybe once or twice that didn't go exactly as planned. And also something that we had a little bit of a blind spot for is that teams don't always only have proposers, but they also have team members. So it could be that a team member was reviewing the competition of the proposer where he was a member from. So ideally, we would be very strict in these things. That would be great, but we also need to ensure that it's also a game of numbers, right? So the previous 2 rounds, we didn't fully succeed in these expert reviews because we just didn't have enough reviewers. So the more strict we are in our rules, the harder it will be to get enough people. So that's the kind of balance that we're at here. Yeah, reward distribution, I think somebody said, and I think that's totally fine. Every expert review team, we had 11 teams, had a team lead assigned to it. And Raphael and me did that because we wanted the team lead to do things like schedule a meeting and make sure that it's in a time slot that everybody is available and that kind of thing. Because that's very hard to do from a centralized position. So we're very grateful to these team leads that they took on that role. But yeah, maybe they would also should also earn a little bit of an extra reward for that. That makes total sense to me. Focus on growth, yeah, that's more about the assessment itself. That should be a focal point of all the reviewers. So what does this proposal do to help the platform grow, basically? And that person felt that wasn't being done enough, I suppose. Then, interesting, what should we start doing? So suggestions. So we're still very early stages with the community expert process. Before we called it peer reviews because we were recruiting from the awarded teams only. Now we have extended that also because of that number game, as I told you, to also involve community experts. So yeah, there's a lot that we can and should learn along the way. So here are a few things. The process itself. So if you are with a group of people in that meeting and you need to go over 20 proposals, how do you do that in an hour time? And what if there's a dispute, if people don't agree with each other immediately? We can, I have some ideas, not the full answer, but I think we can give better guidelines and also improve those guidelines from round to round. Move from integers to floats. So we made a little mistake there. No, I made a little mistake there. In my mind, it was just totally possible to submit a score like 3.2 or 4.6. But that's only the average of the community contributors, and the expert review didn't allow to enter that. So we will fix that next time. Anonymous expert reviews in Portal. Actually, it was about anonymous community contributions in the Portal. So yeah, that's an ongoing discussion whether reviews should be anonymous or not. There are upsides and downsides to that. If you think this is a particularly interesting topic, we can talk about it after this presentation. Register with expertise, that's a very good one. Allow people longer time, maybe already starting tomorrow, as a matter of speech, submitting their interest to be a community expert, and then also getting the information of what topics this person thinks he is an expert in. And we can use that to connect the right expert with the right type of proposals so that we get a higher quality level of proposals, reviews. Requiring every entry to create a video. I think that's a very interesting one. Our marketing team, and thank you, was terribly busy by editing all these proposals, and it was not just the spotlight days. It was also a lot of people that didn't come to the spotlight days, couldn't make it, but still want to have their pitch video out. And it was people that were in the spotlight days that sometimes we did create a video, but then asked the team, hey, I'm not totally satisfied with the presentation I gave. I have a better one right now. Could you do that? So there's a practical reasons for asking the teams or having some functionality that the team could do this by themselves. But it would also help if we do that in a timely fashion. The community experts to get a more wider view on all these proposals by seeing the team or hearing them tell about their projects. Keep expert team members anonymous internally. Yeah, we had this dash show, so anonymity of expert reviewers is very important. I don't mind publishing the whole list of people who were involved, but I don't want to publish who was in what team or which team assessed what proposals. That should be private. Now, what we did internally, we had this dashboard where we could see how many individual reviews were being created so that we could keep in touch and see which teams were ahead and which teams were a little bit behind. And in that dashboard, there was also an overview of who was in what team. But of course, in these community experts, there are also a number of people that are proposers themselves. So they would be able to see who is in that team. And we never thought about that. We never gave that thought. So that's a very good and important learning. So we'll improve that next time. Vetting information on team setup. Yeah, a little bit. The wording is not ideal. I wrote that in a hurry. Basically, some people said, if I want to assess the quality of a proposal, I need to be able to assess the quality of a team. And if that team only says, hey, I'm Jan, and no other information, no LinkedIn profile or other public available information or resume or whatever, how should I assess whether the team is serious or not? So I think that's important information, and it's something we can we should definitely discuss what to do with it and what should be required and what not. We had a feedback form on Google. There are always a few fields that feel a little bit repetitious, so we can improve that, or we can do the whole process next time on our portal. That will require a little bit more of plumbing, and also that dashboard would require some extra efforts to create. But I think that might be a good future direction. Last time about that team lead, we assigned it now based on nothing, just a quick assessment, and some people maybe we knew that had some experience in the program from previous rounds. And there was one person who said, well, why don't we choose our own lead? So that's a possibility. Might take some extra time, but if we start preparation soon enough, there should be no problem. Okay, deep sigh. I will just go on with the next part of the presentation for time's sake. And the next part is the survey of the proposer. So we did a survey together with the Spotlight Day. And because of that, we had 85 or something respondents to the survey, which is great. So, well, first screen here. I have some quick screens and then I have some textual slides. This comes from the Google form. So I asked everybody to just rate what is your experience with the new portal on a scale from 1 to 10. And well, as you can see, a lot of them 8, a lot of them 17, 9 or 10, and also a few lower scores. Now, we know there were some technical issues with the platform based on timeouts and also some saving data. We think we finally found the cause of that in the last day of the round. But taking that into account, those technical issues, which really bothered us because we couldn't replicate them locally. And it's very hard to bug fix on something that you cannot replicate. So with that in mind, quite a few people, and I'll show that in the next screens, having technical issues, I think these numbers are really fantastic. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. And if next round, hopefully we will be able to leave these technical issues out, then yeah, this could even be a bit higher. So yeah, I think this is a great place to be currently. I couldn't resist. If you're in marketing, you know what a net promoter score is. Actually, the net promoter score goes from 0 to 10, and I ask people to go from 1 to 10. So it's not quite official, but I entered the numbers here in an online tool, and we had a score of 23. And if you don't compare it with other industry domains, but just as a general number, 0 is good. Anything below 0 is not so good. 20 is great, and 50 is amazing. We are not yet amazing, but we will get there. But we are great, so that's also a wonderful thing. And if you don't know the net promoter score, what basically what you should ask if you do it officially is, how likely is it that you would recommend our company to a friend or colleague? That's not quite the right question to ask in this context, but the interesting thing is that if you give a 7 or an 8, you're neutral. So a lot of people think if I give an 8, wow, that's really high mark, but basically it doesn't count. In this context, people say we count only the 9s and the 10s because they are the people that will become your ambassadors and will be really important to grow. So these 9s and 10s is what you have to aim for. So enough said about this. It's just a little bit for fun that I put this in. So the timeout. So I was really with a little bit concerned about these timeouts that I also experienced myself. It appeared that 22.5% from this survey actually experienced that as well. I was afraid it would be more, but of course, this is way more than we want. I mean, if it's 5%, then we can live with it. Well, a little bit more context here. In the test round, we had quite serious performance issues. And we moved to a different server, a different provider, which is actually quite oversized with the CDN network, etc. So we did a lot to increase the speed of the platform. But yeah, this is more like an issue of the platform of WordPress. Actually, it was an issue of a plugin in WordPress that we have now disabled, and now suddenly everything seems to be great. We try not to use any plugin, but sometimes it's hard to get around it. This was a security plugin. So so this was actually a negative that I didn't see coming to this extent, but almost 39% of the respondents reported issues in saving data. We think it's also related to the same plugin that blocked information that should not be blocked, etc. So that was really, really, really awkward. But I also hope that will be gone in the next round. I should have said the thing about the performance in this slide. I forgot that. So here is where we ask the question: how do you rate the overall performance? And in this case, a scale from 1 to 7 to have something in the middle and something at the side. And this makes me happy again, because most people are pretty satisfied, above average about the performance, and just a few not so satisfied, which is totally explainable at this stage. So also here, I think we're at a good place to progress. So summary, again, 3 questions. So this 3 more slides and I'm done. What are the things you liked best is what I asked. Interestingly enough, some people said, I loved character limits. What was really the red line, a lot of people said, I like the general UX, I like the flow, it's intuitive, etc. A lot of reactions like that. So big compliments to our UX designer, Greg. Absolute ease of creating proposals and writing text. The automatic calculation is so helpful, so that refers to the milestones. The structure of questions and forms, easy flow, clear steps, that all amounts to the same kind of thing. Supportive material and overall guidelines. There was only one person who said what I really liked is the supportive material and the overall guidelines. I did mention it here because I think there is improvement there, and I got some feedback in that area as well. But still, it's good to see that some people also actually approved of that already. So we can do better, but yeah, we're not that bad. Responsiveness of the team. Thank you all. Ease of inviting team members to participate. So some people really like that, but let's go to the next screen here. So what did you like least? What didn't you like? Character limits. No surprise there. Character limits are there mostly for the general audience, not so much for the teams. It makes their life a little bit harder, so I can understand that, but not inclined to immediately change that. Bugs, so text disappearing, the spinner. We had some issues with strange fonts. It was when it was copy-paste from somewhere else, I think, then it turned black. So we changed that on a case-by-case basis, but text disappearing, spinner, timing out on submission, not being able to fill some parts of the proposal before others. So while others really like the structure and the flow, some people say, hey, I first want to do this and then want to do that. Yeah, maybe we'll get there at some time, but it's not our top priority. Linking my teammates to the proposal. So while some thought that was really easy, others see that as the thing that they liked least. Team members had trouble logging in with invitation. Yeah, that's the next step. I'm not quite sure where that issue was. Maybe, yeah, actually it could still have been with the same issue, but maybe I'm too optimistic there. Edit user profile, yeah, also a little bit similar things. No text formatting while creating the milestones. Yeah, that's an interesting one. So I talked about that with the team. Shall we change it or not? It was a little bit tricky to do that on a very short term, but on each milestone you have 3 fields that you can enter text. In our thinking, that should just be a 2-liner or something, which is why we don't give formatting options. Maybe we gave too much space. Maybe we should give much space and add formatting options. I don't know. So that is another topic we can discuss further. Team member access to edit. Yeah, that is a different thing, not to edit their profile, but edit the actual proposal. So if you have a team, you could conceptually invite your team members to help you edit and work on the proposal. That would be more like an advanced function. We did talk about that. We're not there yet, basically. Inline images in text. Yeah, if you have a long text, then sometimes it's helpful to add some images. We can see if we want that. Window for editing in the text. The text is very small. I don't really recall that, but I'm not sure if it's a local thing or a general thing, but we can look into that. And lack of spell check, yeah, I have a browser plugin for that. And that annoys me because sometimes I get 3 spell checks at the same time, one by the application and one by the browser, and then there's some LLM tool also barging in. So yeah. I would say it's not my top priority, but if we can make life easier for people that way, we can do it. Summary, what would you most like to see improved? Character limits. It's no coincidence that they're at the top of the list. It's a hot topic, let's put it like that. Adding inline images to the long description. Yeah, so there's a bit of repetition here from the other slides, so I'll just go through it quickly. Autosave would help. Text formatting in the milestones, we talked about that. Other links in my profile besides LinkedIn, yeah, YouTube or other thing, yeah, okay, that is valid. better information material about the application procedure. So that's contrary to the good feedback earlier, but I actually agree that we can do a little bit better there. Search function, that is more front-end related. It's one thing that we definitely have in the pipeline. Autosaves and spell checkers, okay. A preview version of my proposals before submitting it. That's a very interesting one. We might have something like that in the RFP process. Doing something like that in the regular submission round, we might have that at some point as well. We're talking about it, but it's not an insubstantial, insignificant change. So we need to think through that. It also ties into another functionality. At some point, we would like to make the portal open all the time, so you can always start creating a proposal for whenever the next round is. And if we would have that, but no front end yet where things can be published, the preview version would come in handy there as well. So I can tell more about that, but I think that's it.
I'd like to open this up for a few minutes. I'd like to hear from Ubio. I'd like to hear from Raphael. But I'd like first to see if there's any specific, and I'm being very specific myself, specific questions for Jan on the survey. And I'd like to limit this to just a couple of minutes if there's some point to clarify. And then I want to go to an open meeting where we can have, for lack of better words, it's a bitch session, it's a attaboy session, attagirl session. Can we do this better? Recommendations, really looking for the positive recommendations if we can do that. But first, any specific questions, and we're going to use the hand system for Jan on this 2 surveys. Okay, no question, John. I think you must have done a fantastic job. Oh, there it is. Ubio, thank you. Question for Mr. Jan Horling.
Yeah, so Jan, I'm rather surprised at what you would say. I want to hear your opinion on this whole character limit, because it was quite a funny feature. It featured as what people loved the most, as what people hated the most, as what people want should be improved the most, and all of that. So what's your take on that? And how do we, because that's the question in my mind, how do we find that ideal spot? Because it seems to be that there is an ideal spot for what a character limit could be that could rather improve the system. If we get it right, we are getting one thing that can affect like a lot of people here.
Yeah, so we can tweak it a little bit here or there, a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. So this was just a first attempt in a spreadsheet in the test round, actually. And there it was a little bit buggy. It didn't always work as planned. So we improved that already quite a bit. So we have 200 proposals. So how would any person go through 200 proposals? It's hardly possible. Now suppose that these 200 proposals all have a summary of 2 pages. That will make maybe one person happy, which is the proposer, because he can tell everybody everything he wants. I think it's our job to rein in and to limit the proposers and to make it really small, and that will take effort. The less room you have for your proposal, the more effort it will take to do it right. So there is this anecdote of Jeff Bezos. When his staff would if he wanted his staff to make a proposal, then he asked them to put it on 1 A4. So no presentation with 20 slides and half an hour talk or whatever. They had to put it on 1 page, 1 A4. And at the beginning of the meeting, they would take, I don't know, 10 minutes or something, read through 1 or 2 or 3 proposals, and then start talking about it. So it's the art of being concise, but that is hard, and that doesn't feel comfortable to the proposers. But I would love to hear what, for instance, the review teams thought of this. Did it make it easier for both review teams, eligibility reviews and the other, to consume the ideas of a lot of proposals, yes or no? And I would like to hear from all of you here that are not a proposer, if there are any, what your impression was, or if you are a proposer, if this feature helped you get a quick impression of some other proposals that you were interested in. So I think if you're looking inside out from a proposal, yeah, there's always more you want to tell, and it's inconvenient and awkward that you're limited by this feature. But at the end of the day, we're not doing this for the proposers, we're doing this for the rest of the audience.
Beautiful, thank you. Any other questions for Jan? And if not, I'm going to ask Raphael if he has any words. But I have one comment on the character limit. I'm in America. I'm in Northeast America, and Kenrick, you should be getting a pretty good thunderstorm in about an hour. It's moving west to east. I just went through it, and I thought I was going to lose my electricity. One of the greatest speeches outside of the Roman speech when burying Caesar was the Gettysburg address by President Lincoln, and it was 272 words. If he could pack that into 272 words, a proposal can certainly be concise. But Raphael, any words, any comments, any suggestions that you would like to make before we go to the open session on how to improve round 5?
Yes, thank you, Tommy Klaus. I'm going to perform the art of being concise here and give the time to all of you to talk. Mostly an announcement. First, congratulations, guys, all of you that were part of this very well developed process of the round. But the announcement would be that it's not for nothing that we are doing these feedback surveys and etc. I myself, I'm also going towards the other circles and stakeholders that participated, collecting feedback as we had here, showed by Jan, review circle, marketing circle, focus group, and etc. We are going to concatenate everything that you guys are putting in. And the next step is the creation of a work group to generate, create, improve, change the rules and procedures for round 5. Okay, so it's again, we are completely keen to become more and more decentralized. So having members from the community, from the circles, awarded teams, less proposers, contributors, expert reviewers, and so on, are going to make this initiative of rounds each time more reliable and accurate. Okay, so keep tuned. We are going to reach out to all of you soon in order to bring more, well, diversity into this, what happened here, okay? Hearing from all the sides, right? So hopefully I was concise at this point. Thank you, Tommy, and let's go on.
Thank you, Raphael. Very, very concise. I think many of us could learn from your conciseness. Now, I'd like to turn it over and to you, to the community. This is about transparency. It's about improving. We are not comparing ourselves to any other platforms or seed funding, but yet we want to learn from mistakes that many of us have experienced in other projects. This is round 4. We've made great improvements, fantastic improvements, and yet we want to continue to improve. And as Raphael said, transparency, and that's where it comes back to you as the community. Without your input, what Jan does, what Raphael does, what Ubio does, what everybody else does in the circles, whether it's the focus group, the review circle, the expert reviewers, the marketing circle, like Judith is involved with. We're not doing anything if we don't have your input and your suggestions for improvement. So again, I'll remind you, if you identified a problem, and there's problems, please come along with a suggestion. Now, before I give up the pulpit, I will say this in the conversation, and the expert reviewers had this: team profiles. I invest in stocks, and one of my holdings is Berkshire Hathaway. I don't invest in Berkshire Hathaway. I invest in the man behind Berkshire Hathaway. I have a small position in Tesla. I don't invest in Tesla. I invest in Elon Musk. I invest in the team and the leader of the team. If you're making a proposal, and this is my 2 cents, no one else's, if you're making a proposal, be proud of yourself and educate the community about who your team is, what your capabilities are, what your successes are, so we know who's behind the team, and make it so we want to vote for you and your team. And that's all I have to say on the matter. Now, who wants to step up? Clement, you already had your time. Kenrick, first hand up there. Did you get the storm yet? And you're on, my friend.
Well, first of all, I really want to congratulate the SingularityNET team. If you go back 6 months ago, even though we were having challenges with the other platform, I was really skeptical about, an in-house team being able to do better than a team that was kind of focused on this as a product. And yet it was so much simpler, so much easier, so much clearer. So I'm kind of blown away with what you all accomplished over the last 6 months. So congratulations on that. And then I really don't have much, as I said, I really don't have much to say in terms of making improvements. The one thing I noticed that actually goes right to what Tommy said is that we are proud of our team, and everyone on the team makes terrific contributions. So we put a lot of effort into trying to get the team profile together. However, then there's kind of this challenge that the person that we just put this great biography all together on has to acknowledge it. And so I mean, it's a lesson learned on our side also, but I'm kind of wondering if there can be sort of a dual process of some way in which the profile gets published, but then there's like a verification from that person somehow, because we have a number of profiles that I think on our proposals that never got verified, and therefore it just came up anonymous. It wasn't our intent to be anonymous. So that's one suggestion.
That's awesome. I'm involved in a rugged NFT project in Cardano, and one of the things we did, because it was rugged, is we contracted with bearmarket.io or bearstore.io to dox everybody. Maybe that's a suggestion, but thank you, Kenrick, and we appreciate it. Ali Marin from NerdConf, if I said it correct, I'm happy. If I said it incorrect, please correct me. You're up next.
Well, first of all, yeah, you said it correctly. So very good, Tommy. Thank you. Actually, he's called Tommy too. He's
Hi,
the
Tommy.
other founder of NerdConf. So it was our first time doing a proposal on Deep Funding, and the whole process was very good. I think that we saw the survey and the answers. Some of it I could feel really reflect on. For example, I think that maybe proposers and proposals could have more power when having pictures on it. So I would like to see that improvement in the next round. Then also the fact that doing a video to do an entry, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a barrier that some people will, like, if they don't have like a proposal that they really believe on, or they don't want to work hard on, sometimes you have to do a video, and it's like a very good barrier. So I completely agree with that, and I would like to see that too. When doing the proposal myself and going back and seeing what others proposed before and how they did it, I think there were some changes in the way the proposals were submitted, and that kind of confused me a bit. So maybe for the next round, it could be really useful for new users, that the deep funding team and everyone told them like, hey, it's cool, we have new forms, like this is a new way of submitting, so don't worry if something that people had to submit before, you don't have to submit, so it's like a new thing. And that on my side. Then about voting, we had some insights too that we would like to share. Tommy?
Okay. Hey, I'm Tommy. This was our first voting round of deep funding. We're pretty new in the ecosystem, and our original position was to onboard people to deep funding, but people outside from the SNet ecosystem. That was like the main feature of our proposal. In the voting week, we realized, talking to people from the SNet ecosystem, that not everybody knew about deep funding. So I would suggest for the next round to onboard to deep funding people already in the SNet ecosystem, people who actually can vote. That was our insight and and basically our job in the voting week.
Yeah, we talked to people from Cogito, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Rejuve, SNet. We went like from some like LinkedIn and stuff, trying to understand, because if we went out to the world talking to people who hold AGICs, for example, I don't know, traders or content creators, it was like a very big barrier to explain to them, hey, I think that you could like really help me because you believe in this token. Actually, that token is like in this ecosystem called Deep Funding, and you can help my proposal if you vote me. People got kind of scared because of all like crypto scams, etc. So it was really hard to communicate that. And maybe on voting week, what could be done for the next round is like involve people on already on the ecosystem that might not know about deep funding, but have AGICs and could vote. So we can onboard them for the next round. And also, we have more voters, because we know that 2,200 people voted last Deep Funding 3 or 4 beta. And I think that that number must be double by now, or maybe 300 voters. But there are a lot of AGICs holders, more than 100,000 out there, maybe even more. So,
Ali, I'm going to put your name in with Judith to recruit you for the marketing circle, because one of the things that they are working on is onboarding and trying to recruit more and more people. You're absolutely correct. We need more people in the ecosystem. We need more voters. I liked your ideas with the pictures. I did do 3-minute videos for my 2 projects, but not everybody has the software. Not everybody has the capability to make the video. So, it's a great thing. And a picture does tell 1,000 stories, or whatever the saying is in your part of the world. So those are 2 very strong suggestions. And certainly onboarding. We need ambassadors like you. Join the ambassador program in SNet, which is slightly different than deep funding, and help us onboard people. Fantastic suggestions, and thank you. And thank you for your proposals and your enthusiasm, most of all. Samuel Marrow, your hand is up next, and please come on up.
Sure, just give me a second to turn the webcam on. There we go. Sorry for this terrible quality. I'm using an old webcam. So overall, I'd say that the experience was very very pleasant. I'm a proposer. It was my first proposal for deep funding. However, I also found one issue that I think might be interesting to address in the future, and that is the use of ChatGPT generated reviews. Now, I ran some estimates, and I'd say that about 80% of the reviews to my proposal were generated with ChatGPT, which isn't necessarily an issue in this if these reviews are actually like, let's say that I don't have the English skills to express my opinion, and so I write my review in another language.